Turning a vacation home into a successful short-term rental can sound exciting, but where do you actually begin? Let's find out now in this sponsored segment. From choosing the right location to navigating permits and preparing a property for guests, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, honestly. And Realtor Mark Shea is here to break down the process with us and share what it really takes to get started in the thriving Poconos rental market. Mark, thank you so much for joining us.
Great, thanks for having me again.
There's literally, like you said, or like I just said, like there's so many steps that you don't really think about when you see the short-term rentals. Like you think of all the end goal, you see the pictures of and you think of, I'm ready to bring the guests in, I'm ready to have someone stay here. But what does it actually take to, what's the first step when I'm ready to kind of start getting a short-term rental in the Poconos?
So if you have a vacation home and you want to rent it, then the general consensus is you're running a business.
Okay.
So as a business, you need to register a business. In Pennsylvania, you need to get a sales tax license. You need to then get a permit from your township. The township will determine whether this is zoned properly, that every township, every municipality has its own zoning rules and regulations. So based on where you're allowed to do it is one consideration. And then what the specific rules are. Are there occupancy limits? Are there parking requirements? Do we have to have the septic system inspected? They issue a license. They will then do an annual inspection of some type, or at least your license will get renewed once a year. And so both of those are factors to, to also all of this designed to make sure that the guests have trust and faith, and that the guest experience isn't just going out into the woods somewhere and finding a cabin and hoping that the person who rented it actually owns it. Right? And so the regulations are there. One of the reasons people like the Poconos is that we already have this established regulation. A lot of the country has been going through the past couple of years, ups and downs as to whether you're allowed to do it or not. It's well-established practice in the Poconos. We've got communities that have been doing this for generations, and so nothing new. They have rental guests, they have rental processes. So if you buy in one of these planned communities, and it's actually what we recommend to people, is to look at ones that have good amenities, have good reasons to come to that community, have a well-established kind of Airbnb industry already in that community.
And I'm glad you mentioned that too, because a lot of the times part of the guest experience that you were mentioning is that location factor of it. And sometimes you're just kind of like, I want to make sure that I'm in, like you said, not out in the middle of nowhere with a log cabin. Now you mentioned a lot of steps. Are these steps that I can do myself and kind of research, or are these steps that are best if I reach out to you and kind of you guide me through everything?
So we built a website called PoconoVacationHomeSales.com. It's designed to help people with their choices, help them get an understanding of the rules and regulations. We've got these STR scorecards, which are red, yellow, green indicators for the different towns and the different communities. And then in there's also some support system, articles that would talk about how important is bedroom count, or how important is size, or do certain have minimum stays or maximum stays. And so that, I think, is a factor. But first and foremost, you are running a business, right? And then there are DIY stuff, plenty of websites that can help you as service providers, plenty of service providers ourselves. There are 6,500 short-term rentals in the Poconos, and we count the Poconos as Pike, Wayne, Monroe, and Carbon. And so that's a healthy industry, if you think of it that way. Some people freak out and say, oh, that's an awful lot of competition. And I say to them, well, and if you go to New York and you want Chinese food, where do you go? Or where you go to Little Italy.
So when I come and speak to you specifically about wanting to get started in the short-term rental business, what am I telling you during that initial phone call?
So we're talking about whether you want to use this strictly as an investment property. Is this profit-minded? Are you looking to take advantage of some of these new tax laws which give you tax benefit? Are you looking to use it and just kind of have the rentals pay your bills and then have a house? We have some people, they call them snowbirds, right? They go down to Florida in the winter and they rent their house out because it's near a ski area, and then they come back here in the summer where it's a lot more pleasant in the Poconos than it is down in Florida.
So you guys are kind of the brains behind a lot of it. Like, you're helping me get clear on my vision on what it is that I want.
Sure, as well as price. Right, and it always comes down, it's real estate, it's going to have a price. And we put you into a price range, and that should help you kind of gauge whether you can meet your goals. Is it income property? Is it just covering the cost? Is it a vacation home? And then focus in on finding the right home.
So if you guys are ready to find your next short-term rental investment, you guys can reach out to Mark and his team. Mark, thank you so much for stopping by.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And thanks again to the Mark Shea team at Keller Williams Real Estate for sponsoring this segment.